I want you all to imagine that you're a successful trader, sailing across the seas, your ship loaded with valuable goods. Life feels secure, but then, out of nowhere, disaster strikes. A storm rages, your ship sinks, and just like that, everything you've worked for is gone. Every ounce of wealth swallowed by the ocean. This isn't a hypothetical. It's the story of Zeno of Cyprus, a wealthy merchant in 300 BC. One moment, he had everything. The next, he had nothing. Now picture yourself in his shoes. How would you respond to losing everything in a single, uncontrollable moment? Anger? Despair? A feeling that life cheated you? Most of us would crumble under that kind of loss. But Zeno, he didn't just survive, he thrived. That disaster didn't break him, it transformed him. It planted the seeds of something extraordinary: Stoicism. Zeno's philosophy teaches us a profound truth. While we can't control life's storms, we can control how we weather them. And that simple shift in mindset, it can change everything. Let's take a step back. What exactly is Stoicism? For starters, it's not about being emotionless or detached, as many people assume. It's not about pretending everything is fine when it's not, or suppressing how you feel. At its core, Stoicism is about living in harmony with life's chaos. It's about recognizing what's within our control and letting go of what isn't. It's about finding peace in the middle of life's storms, not because the storm ends, but because you learn to navigate it differently. Think about your own life for a moment. How often do you get upset about things you can't change? A canceled flight, a rude comment, a sudden expense. Stoicism doesn't tell you to ignore these things. It teaches you to see them for what they are, just events. The power lies in how you choose to respond. That pause, that choice, is where freedom begins. When Zeno's shipwreck left him destitute, he didn't drown in regret. He didn't curse the gods or spiral into self-pity. Instead, he found inspiration. Imagine that, losing everything and seeing it not as the end but as a beginning. With nothing left to lose, he walked into a bookstore in Athens, picked up the works of Socrates and other great thinkers, and began a journey that would change not only his life, but countless others after him. He didn't create a philosophy to sit on a dusty shelf or sound lofty in debate halls. No, Stoicism was built for the real world, for people like you and me, dealing with setbacks, disappointments, and uncertainties. Zeno's key realization was this: while we can't control the world around us, we have absolute control over how we interpret and respond to it. This isn't about giving up, it's about gaining control where it truly matters. Stoicism challenges us to shift our perspective. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "How can I grow from this?" Instead of being consumed by the chaos, learn to focus on what you can influence: your thoughts, your actions, your character. That's where your true power lies, not in wishing the storm away, but in learning how to sail through it. Think about it. Every day, life throws curveballs. Your boss denies your promotion, a relationship falls apart, or maybe something as simple as getting caught in the rain without an umbrella. It's not the events themselves that break us, it's our expectations. We walk around assuming life owes us smooth sailing, and when the waves hit, we're blindsided. It's not just the rainstorm, it's the mental chaos of, "Why me?" That makes things harder than they need to be. What if you woke up each day expecting that things might not go your way? Not with a gloomy outlook, but with a readiness for the unpredictable. Stoicism teaches us this shift in mindset. Expect the unexpected. It's not about being pessimistic or dreading worst-case scenarios. It's about meeting life as it is, not how we wish it would be. Here's the magic of Stoicism. When you prepare for challenges, they lose their grip on you. Take the Stoic practice of voluntary discomfort, for example. Imagine sleeping on the floor for a night, not because you have to, but because you choose to. Or skipping a meal, not due to scarcity, but to remind yourself that hunger won't defeat you. These small, deliberate acts teach you something powerful. The things you fear aren't as scary as you've made them out to be. Think about it. How many of our fears are amplified because we've never confronted them? The cold shower you dread might actually leave you feeling invigorated. The night on the hard floor could make you appreciate your bed even more. Voluntary discomfort isn't about self-punishment. It's about breaking the illusion that comfort equals happiness. It's about knowing you can endure far more than you think and realizing that even when life pulls the rug out from under you, you'll land on your feet. This practice is liberating. It's not just a mental exercise, it seeps into how you face everyday life. When you've already faced controlled discomfort, the sudden storms of life feel less overwhelming. You know you can handle discomfort because you've trained for it. And with that comes a quiet confidence, a kind of inner peace that doesn't depend on everything going right. It's the realization that no matter what life throws at you, you'll figure it out, because you've been there before and you came out stronger. The beauty of Stoicism lies in its accessibility. It wasn't a philosophy locked behind temple doors or reserved for the elite. It was a way of life open to anyone who was ready to embrace it, regardless of their status, gender, or circumstances. Think about it. How often do we encounter philosophies that truly transcend social barriers? Stoicism did just that. From Epictetus, a former slave who found freedom in mastering his mind, to Marcus Aurelius, an emperor juggling the weight of an empire while writing meditations on self-discipline, Stoicism brought together people from every corner of life. It's proof that the pursuit of wisdom is universal. And it wasn't just for the privileged few. The Stoics were ahead of their time, challenging societal norms that most wouldn't dare question. They introduced the concept of being a cosmopolitan, a citizen of the world. For them, the divisions we create, race, class, gender, were superficial. What truly mattered was virtue, character, and the shared humanity that binds us all. Imagine how radical that must have been in a world where inequality was the norm. Take Musonius Rufus, for example. He didn't just preach to men in the crowded forums of Rome. He stood firmly against the grain, declaring that philosophy wasn't just a man's game. It was for women too. At a time when women were often dismissed as intellectually inferior, Musonius argued that virtue had no gender. He believed that courage, wisdom, and justice were as relevant to women's lives as they were to men's. But he didn't just argue for inclusivity, he lived it. Musonius taught that the pursuit of a good life wasn't bound by who you were, it was bound by your willingness to practice it. Imagine being a young woman in his audience, hearing someone finally say that your voice, your struggles, and your potential mattered. It wasn't just empowering, it was revolutionary. The timelessness of Stoicism comes from this inclusivity. It speaks to the struggles we all share, the desire to find meaning, to rise above challenges, and to live with purpose. And because it's rooted in human experience rather than rigid dogma, it continues to resonate today. Whether you're a CEO managing a company, a student tackling exams, or a parent trying to instill values in your children, the principles of Stoicism are there for you. They don't discriminate, they elevate. Even today, Stoicism's lessons resonate. We live in a world obsessed with external validation, likes, followers, promotions, possessions. We chase happiness through things we can't control. But Stoicism reminds us true peace comes from within. It's not about having more, it's about needing less. Seneca said it best, learning to live with less creates space for the things that truly matter. Let's break it down into the 4 Stoic virtues: wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice. Wisdom is knowing what's in your control and what isn't. As Viktor Frankl said, between stimulus and response, there's a space. In that space lies our power to choose. Courage is persistence in the face of adversity. To persist and resist is the Stoic mantra. Temperance teaches moderation, reminding us to value simplicity over excess. Justice, the most vital virtue, emphasizes doing right by others because we're all interconnected. Modern psychology mirrors these Stoic teachings. Therapies like rational emotive behavioral therapy and logotherapy draw directly from Stoic principles. They help people reframe negative thoughts, replacing destructive patterns with healthier ones. Just like Stoicism, these methods teach us to find purpose and meaning, even in life's darkest moments. At its heart, Stoicism is a guide to living a good life. It teaches us to let go of what we can't control, focus on what we can, and find peace in knowing we've done our best. Life's storms will come, that's inevitable. But how do we respond? That's where our power lies. And as the Stoics believed, it's not the length of your life that matters, but the quality of the life you live. So let's wrap this up. Stoicism is less about mastering life and more about mastering ourselves. It's about making small, intentional choices every day that help us navigate life's chaos with clarity and strength. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, what can I control right now? That simple question can change the direction of your day. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing to The Stoic Living for more insights like these. Let's keep this journey going together.